All right, welcome, great people. Today we have a special guest. We got Mark W. Is it Curran or Curran?
Curran, yeah, Curran.
Curran. Okay, just want to make sure everybody knows Bigfoot. He's a co-host sometimes on this show. Since we're talking horror, Bigfoot's like, I'm in. I want in on this one.
Heck yeah, man. The Hoodman, urban legends coming real. Like, this is right alley, missing people. Oh, man.
Yes.
It's an honor to be here, Mark. I'm very excited, and to chop it up with a fellow director and horror enthusiast. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. Today, Friday the 13th on Eclipses, because it feels like it. It feels like it.
I was going to say, but Eric, your introduction, the thing that you used to introduce the show, that's more exciting than both of my movies combined.
No, what's funny is I got a comment one day from a person that wanted to watch one of my videos, and she goes, "Dude, your intro scarier than the topic. I didn't need to watch anything else." I'm like, well,
I love it. That's got some great stuff in it, man.
I go, that's horror for you. That's horror.
It's like it's hard for the show to even that's after that intro, what can you do? You almost should have a really crappy intro, and then the show will seem like it's.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. After people see the intro, they'll leave. That's probably why the average amount of minutes is people are watching the show 30 seconds and then they leave.
Yeah. Well, did you watch? Were you able to watch Hoodman? Did you have time to watch it?
Yes, I did. Cool. Yes, I did.
All right.
The weirdest paranormal stuff was trying to stop me from watching your movie. I'm not lying. Yesterday, about 4:00, I wanted to watch it the night before, to get a good feel and then kind of wake up in the morning. Because sometimes the best part about a movie is talking about it right after you watch it and a day after, because your thoughts, go to a change. But at 5:00 last night, my internet went out.
Oh boy!
And then 4 hours later, it still went out. I'm like, it's still out.
Oh,
and I wanted to call and try to get it fixed, but the modem is in my son's room. He's sleeping, so I was like, okay. So I got up at 5:00 in the morning, thinking, okay, they'll fix it overnight. It was still out.
Connor's on the move.
Yeah, my cat's acting paranormal right now, so I had to see what she's doing. She's a black cat, so she's on the bridge of dimensions, and I use my cats as protectors in the spiritual realm, because I'm always going to haunted spots and investigating, and she's going crazy in the other room. So I was a little nervous, and I didn't want it to be annoying to you guys, her meowing. I didn't know if you guys could even hear it or not.
No, I couldn't, but I like that being on the move. That was kind of like a steady cam thing.
Heck yeah, man.
Like following you through. Us filmmakers, we pay a lot of money for shots like that. So that's production value, my friend.
That's what we're going to get into, because I'm sure you've done a lot of interviews. I'm sure you answered questions like, what's your favorite color and all that. and we don't need to know what's your favorite color. Watching your first movie, you did a movie in 2015. Of course, this is your newest one that comes out, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe May 1st is when people.
May 1st. 2 more days, I guess. A couple more days.
2 more days.
Yeah, so, the countdown.
It is the countdown. And of course, you did another movie in 2015 called Abandoned Dead. And anybody in the chat here, let me type that word in, Abandoned Dead, so people can look for it. And that movie, you can actually watch it free through Tubi.
Yes.
So guys, if anybody in the chat, if you don't know what Tubi is just another streaming service, but it's actually free. It's different. You have to watch commercials. It's like going back old school, people, going back to regular television where you have to watch commercials. But you can watch his first movie in 2015 on Tubi. And if you need me to spell out Tubi, guys, I'll spell it out. It's a free service.
Tubi.
And one of the things, guys, I recommend this, people in the chat, before you watch Hoodman, watch his first movie first. And as a person watching a director, you see the growth from this movie to this movie, you can see that you learn new tricks. I mean, I hope that's not offending.
No, not at all. I mean, directing is a very complicated thing, and unless you've done it as soon as you start to do it, it's like anything else. It's like riding a bike. You start to learn little things, and then the second time out, you're a little better, and then the third time out, this is the problem that with directing movies, you just don't have that much of an opportunity to ply your craft, unless, like the old studio system, you could do that. But now, how often can a director direct? I mean, once every 3 years, once every 4 years, if he's lucky or she's lucky. So, but
do you think because of now, the way movies and everything is changing with the atmosphere, because you have the pandemic and now there's more streaming services more than ever, that every streaming service now wants their own content. Everybody wants their own content. So that means there's more work for directors, because there's more content that they need. Do you feel that that's going to be a game changer for you, that you're going to be more in demand?
No, I don't think so, because what it is that means there'll be more work for established directors and people who are already in with the network or their affiliate production companies. These networks have very specific people that they work with. They don't just like pick up the phone or the yellow pages and say, "Oh, let's see, I need a new director." What they do is it's all done with relationships, people that they know, people with a track record, or people with track records that have friends that have track records. But it's rare that they're just going to go into find an independent person, unless the movie really got a lot of attention. But these little indie movies don't really generate much attention. So I think there's always going to be a separation, no matter how much of a demand there is. The networks and the streaming services and the cable networks, they all have their own set group of people that they work with, and they rarely step outside that box.
Well, that's what I respect about you, is you're still going to make it happen.
Right.
I mean, if they're not coming to your door, you're going to make it happen. So let me ask you this, like when you have an idea like Hoodman, and it's kind of a cool folklore legend story come to life, an urban legend coming to life, when you have an idea in the first place, because you're just not a director, you're the writer, you're a producer, so you carry a lot of different hats. So when you wake up in the morning and you have this idea of Hoodman, I mean, what do you do to even get started to create this movie?
Well, you start with an idea. I have a notebook, and I write down movie titles, movie ideas, different genres, not just horror, but all different kinds of movie ideas. And, a lot of times what'll happen is, as what happened with both of these films, is I didn't even have the idea until I had the location, because we are always on the lookout for locations, because if you can't get a free location on a budget of under $30,000, you really can't make a movie that's watchable. So, in other words, you've seen movies shot in friends' houses, and they're using their friends. I mean, it's just beyond bad. You can't even watch the stuff. But if you want to hire a crew and you want it to look somewhat professional, you need a free location that you can set everything in pretty much one central location. That's sort of the hub around which all the other scenes are shot. So what you do is you start with a location, then you start to come up with ideas. In my case, a friend of my girlfriend's, she offered her house. She'd heard about Abandoned Dead, and said, "Listen, I love Abandoned Dead, and I've got a house. We live and work in the house, but would you like to use the house to shoot in?" And I'm like, I was all over that. I went down there and checked out the house. It was a nice little 2-story house, and then it was great. I was already coming up with ideas, No, and then awesome. She said, and then we're in the backyard, and she goes, "By the way, I own the house next door." And she said, "Would you like to use that as well?" And I was like, my mouth was hanging open. Like, I said, "Yeah, let's have a look at it." And they had a pool and a pool house. And I mean, the whole thing was just like surreal. So I started to come up with ideas. What can I do in this house? And I'd come up with this Halloween idea based on this guy who goes around from house to house. He just picks random houses. He drives around and he puts a hood on and he just goes up to the house and knocks and says, trick or treat. And that's all I had for an idea. So Hoodman actually came from that idea, and it went through all these different evolutions and finally ended up with the urban legend. And this guy and the kids were disappearing from this town, and the people in the town began to circulate this urban legend about this guy that was going around stealing children. And then I started to research urban legends and fairy tales, and I found some stuff on a thing called the Sandman. And it turns out that the hooded legends go way back, all the way back to the Greek period. So that's where it started, and I just started. Then you just brainstorm.
I like how you use Sandman in the film too, because the one says Sandman, and then she's like,
the librarian.
Hoodman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the librarian. I got to start the film. I'm really excited to finish it, man. Once the pretty boy gets introduced, it starts throwing a lot of shade towards his way, and
like
that. And
when the pretty boy comes in, it's just a matter of time.
100%. And I've been investigating the Hat Man and the Tall Man, and of course Sasquatch is known as the Watcher, the Lurker. So it goes straight in, man. And yeah, I appreciate you and the depth you gave to it. And I watched the trailer for Abandoned Dead as well, and that little girl is creepy, and I'm really excited to just dive into the lore and try to draw
so much fun
between the two movies.
The horror movies and horror is just such a great genre because there's so much you can do with it, and if people have that innate sense of fear of the dark, and like you were saying, Eric, things that they don't know. It's the unknown, the fear of the unknown. So you put these characters in these situations where they can't figure out what's going on, add a few mental problems, and you can really have fun with it.
Right. And the whole city seemed against her. They don't believe her. People of authority are putting her down. And then you see that reflects in real life. Sometimes you just have to listen to your brothers and sisters, people ask me all the time, how do you corroborate, the true stories and not, the same way a court does. You can judge someone based on one eyewitness. Come on. We can't throw people, in the gutter so quick. And I felt bad for the main character. And that's exactly what you want as a director, people to feel for that. I felt so helpless for her. And wow, it was powerful.
Thank you so much.
And you need to give credit to the person who cut your trailer for Hoodman, because a job of the trailer is not to give you the whole story, but to give you enough to know, okay, I get it. I get where they're going with this. And when I'm watching a trailer, I'm like, they did a good job just giving you a little bit of pieces of what the movie's going to be about, but not give it away. So
that's really an art, man. That's why they got guys that just do that, they're not even regular editors. They just specialize in cutting trailers for movies because they have a talent for gelling that story idea and setting it and building this tension, and not to give away the story, but to do it in a way that gives you just enough that you really want to see it, Yeah. And that was Brian J. Smith, who has edited a couple different things, and the editor, he's actually the editor of the movie as well. He did the trailer, Brian J. Smith, and he if you guys ever saw the movie Saint Agatha, that was one that he did. Saint Agatha is a great movie. That's how I found him. I rented Saint Agatha and I thought, man, this is great. I love this movie. And so I looked him up, and I didn't think he was going to do it because I didn't have very much money. And he's like, oh man, COVID hit and I'm out of work and I'm sitting around my apartment and I got nothing to do. I said, well, I got something for you to do. Check this out.
Perfect timing, man. That's how projects happen. You jump out of your bubble of comfort, and then just things fall into place. You find perfect settings to film at. The right people are going to fall in. The right story and ideas are going to come mid-movie. It's a beautiful thing. That's very cool. I saw you had another project with Edgar Allan Poe, involved.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, Edgar, that was actually a theatrical production, and what it was is I knew an actor that had a one-man show where he played Edgar Allan Poe, and I had written a Poe script that was based on a one-man show that I envisioned. What would it be like? And so we kind of blended the two ideas together, and I booked him into a theater to see if we could get people to come attend the show, and I came up with the idea of actually filming it. So that's kind of how it came together. So we filmed it, and so basically we filmed it as him just doing it as just a theatrical production where we just filmed him doing what he did on stage, basically. And we did it 2-camera. We sort of shot it film style, but we shot the whole thing live, and it was really cool. We filmed it in an old theater in San Pedro, California. I don't know, where are you guys based out of?
I am in Seattle, Washington.
In Washington State?
Seattle, yes.
Seattle, okay. All right. So
I'm from Fresno, California originally. I'm from California.
Okay, so you know about, there's some beautiful old theaters in Fresno.
Oh, yes.
In fact, I think there's one downtown Fresno that has the original organ in it, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yeah. You know Fresno. That's awesome.
Well, my other business is the music business, and I book acts into theaters, and some of these theaters are pretty old. So I did a couple shows in Fresno with a couple of my tribute groups. But anyway, we shot this in San Pedro with the Edgar Allan Poe character, and the theatrical production really didn't draw any people, so we had to cancel the show. Oh. But we ended up filming it anyway. I figured, well, look, we got to get this on tape, we got to get, it's just too good. And then I put it up on a couple of streaming platforms, but it subsequently didn't sell hardly any tickets. So, you just keep trying stuff, man. That's what it is. You have a passion for something. You can't really worry about the money, because the money is not usually going to be there.
Right. It's all about the art, man. I commend that from multiple levels. I'm an author myself. I write Bigfoot books and paranormal books, and I know
that's cool.
It's not about the money, it's about the words on the paper and the life that can create. It's about us talking about it right now, And then my journey, I moved from Ohio down to Florida and lived out of my car, and I joined this punk rock band that just wrote a musical, and they got it accepted into the Orlando Fringe Festival. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, Fringe Festival. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we had a musical, and it was an hour long, and I needed a place to live because I was living out of my car. And I moved in on Wednesday, and the first photo shoot with the whole crew and the whole cast was Saturday. So I, met everybody, and I ended up being hired as the stage manager because, I played
cool.
bar, I write, I went to Bowling Green and studied film. So it all just came together. I really needed a place to stay. I was tired of living at Walmart and staying at marinas and sleeping in tents in national parks. So then it was called Butch Queen and the Bad Habits, and it was crazy. It was crazy culture shock for me. There was the lead singer was a diva, a man that dressed like a woman but could have been an alien. Drug addict, went through trials and tribulation, and there were witches and potions, and it was the final show. And then there was flashbacks and dream sequences. Dude, it was one of the greatest shows. I was so proud.
Wow, that sounds great.
I would have loved for it to be filmed like that. We performed it plenty of times, and there's live ones of it, but not 2 cameras and good microphones and everything. I would have loved for it to be a film, but it was an honor to be a part of, and I'll have to send you the links just so you can look into it. But,
yeah, definitely.
We've all went our different ways in the world, but it was one of the coolest things ever. I always wanted to be a part of something that, I worked at the pub, lived above the pub. I lived with the band and worked with the band, and it was crazy. We were based out of Lakeland, Florida, and it was awesome. It really threw me into the swamp life, and then I moved to the Panhandle, and now it's a little slower out here. So now I get to write books and play guitar by myself in the forest. But man, that was one of the craziest years of my life. Butch Queen and the Bad Habits.
Nice.
Experience is best, right? Experience is best.
It was fun.
What I noticed about Hoodman is I see a lot of influences of movies in it, right? And that's the best part about watching movies. You know, I always say there's always 3 stages of a movie. I watch the movie the first time just to watch it, get through it. And then I like to rewatch the movie because I like to see, you can see what a director is like going for, like what's going on in the real world. He puts bits and pieces in a movie where I like to take a notebook and I write things down. Like, I like to really absorb and break down the whole movie. A lot of people who watch this show, like Carla Webster, she's awesome on breaking down movies. And watching this movie, I could feel a sense of a little bit of Nightmare on Elm Street in it.
Oh yeah.
I can sense I Know What You Did Last Summer. And of course you got your typical slasher, you know, your Halloween kind of stuff, but you got a little paranormal activity in it.
Right.
So I can see your influences, you know, throughout the movie. And I like how you kind of took the approach of, I know it might be a far stretch, but The Shining. What I mean by The Shining is you develop a story first. It's about the characters. And one of the things about a lower budget movie versus a high budget, where a lot of high budget puts all their movies, all their money in special effects, but they don't develop a story with the characters. Right. And then you kind of took the punch like The Shining at the end where everything starts to happen. So I'm not saying it's a slow burn, but it's a story slow burn. And then you get the payoff, you know, towards the end. And I love the music in it because it's a little bit of John Carpenter, but a little bit more music than John Carpenter, but you made the music more simpler and it fit perfectly with the movie.
Yeah, a lot of time went into that, and it tried to get just the right music for it. And you know, that's an art too, which I was really able to, you know, it took a lot of time to make it work, but we had time. I mean, that's the good thing about it. You know, we stopped, we ended the principal photography in October of last year, just before the pandemic hit. So we weren't able to go back and get pickup shots. So I had to come up with a way to tie the story together without the pickup shots. And so that kind of began this quest of trying to figure out what the story elements were, and also gave me a lot more time to be able to figure out what the music was going to be about, the musical cues. I knew I wanted it to have some John Carpenter influence as far as the synth goes, because I like the synth stuff. Because you can't really go with an orchestral score for these kind of movies, because it doesn't work. You know, you need that synthesizer thing. You know, you need stuff like that. So it gave us the time. We knew we didn't have any deadlines or anything, and the distributor said, "Well, can you get it to us like right away, because everybody's locked down and now the streaming is doing really well." And I said, "I'd love to, but I said I can't rush it. I gotta, you know, it's gotta be right, you know." And so we ran into our own share of problems with it, as you always do with these projects. But it, you know, I just didn't want to rush it. So it's anybody's guess how it'll do. I mean, I just hope it makes its money back. That's my main thing. I mean, you know, Abandoned Dead made its money back, but not much more. So I mean, it was profitable in that sense. It made its budget back, but you know, you don't really. This is not something you do for money, because you really can't expect money. As an old friend of mine said, if you make a $50,000 film, it'll probably make back around $50,000. Yeah, and $200,000 film, you'll make about $200,000 back. You know, it's hard to get above that. You know. And
what I understand is, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I hear this with the bigger budgets, to really consider making a profit. So if a movie costed, I know there's higher project money I'm talking about here, like a movie costed $30 million, it needs to make almost triple to be considered a profit, because you gotta market it, the marketing, and usually the marketing is not with the budget, what the movie costs. So usually marketing budget is on the outskirts. And then, you know, depending on how you got the money from the banks, loans, the interest points and all that. Yeah. So the movie has to almost double to triple to even consider making a profit. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. And independent movies, they're financed a little differently, but it's the same idea. And, you know, the more you spend on advertising and marketing, generally the better the movie will do. But we don't really have most independent films. We don't have that luxury. So, it goes out through an aggregator, which is a distributor of sorts, and then they try to also sell it in the foreign markets at the various markets like Cannes and MIPCOM. I don't know if you know much about film markets, but it's like this big giant bazaar where all these film companies meet with buyers, and it's quite something to see if you're into movies. Before you really get an education going to one of these things. They have one in LA every year too.
That's what I meant by my third part of a movie is learning how to get it made. What it takes.
How to get it sold.
I love hearing stories. Our stories. Studios pass it up on this one, then another company picks it up, and then it makes like all this miracle money. And then I also understand that contracts here, like even though say you got a movie on Netflix in the UK. It might be contract through another streaming services because contracts are all different around the world than just here. So you gotta, it must be a headache on that part. Once the movie's finished, must be a headache on trying to marketing because every country has its own different rules.
Yeah. That's a subject all in itself.
Yeah.
Foreign sales is a specialized area. So a lot of times what a filmmaker will need to do is hire a foreign sales agent that just handles that part of it. Now, luckily, I have a distributor that is also a foreign sales agent. The distributor is Indie Rights, and they're in Los Angeles. They also took over the rights for Abandoned Dead once it ran its course with the first distributor, which was Gravitas. These are basically aggregators. What they do is they take these movies, they package them together in large groups of say 100 to 200 titles each, and then they pitch them to the Amazon and Tubi and all these different streaming services, and they sell them as a package. And then they're divvied up into individual movies, and then ads are placed on them, and it's very complex. But what it really gets down to is that it really is quite a headache trying to sell one of these movies, and most of the time they don't get picked up. The movie just ends up running on YouTube, or the filmmaker uses it as sort of a calling card to try to get money for his next one. So I feel like I'm very fortunate that my first movie got distributed, won a few awards and got distributed, and I was able to get it out to some of the pay-per-view markets before the pay-per-view market took a nosedive. Now there's no more pay-per-view. Now it's all what they call advertising, AVOD, which is advertising revenue from the stream, which is what you see on Tubi. So all the money that's earned by the filmmaker is earned from ads watched while it's up on a free platform.
Makes sense.
You think by any small chance that your movie will be on a big screen? Somewhere like some theaters might actually have it on a big screen, or is it going to just be mostly digital rental streaming services?
Yeah, it'll only be streaming. There's no more theatrical anymore unless you're with a really big film distributor, or if your movie was financed by a studio, then like the Jason Blum movies, or the Ghost House pictures, they're all funded with pre-distribution deals set up with the studios. So that's why you see like 10 different production companies on the front end of those.
Yeah.
They all have a piece of the action, and then they all fund the theatrical release.
Yep.
So no, it will never see a theatrical release, and it will likely not ever see DVD because probably DVD was just about completely dead as of about a year ago.
It's dying out. I think Samsung is not making any more Blu-ray machines. They're one of the major companies. They're saying goodbye to physical media.
Yes.
Which
is sad. I'm like you guys. I'm a true horror. I don't like to rent. I don't like to stream movies. I want to buy the DVD. Yeah. I want to get I want to get the Blu-ray. I want to see the artwork, and I want to see the behind the scenes, and I want it to look crisp, and I want to be able to stop it when I want to stop it. I don't want to be monkeying around with with a remote. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Last night I said my internet went out, so I went downstairs, grabbed one of my old movies, Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Put the disc in, watch Trick or Treat again, and you can't beat digital. Clearer, the sound's better.
Oh, much better. The sound is much better. You use headphones, right? Do you use headphones or do you use speakers?
I use speakers. I have a surround sound system. I'm a movie geek. I have a membership through AMC, so every Friday night we go to the movies. Every Friday we'll see something.
Oh, cool! You go to the actual theater?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's very cool.
And because of the pandemic, it's awesome. In a weird way, it's awesome because they can't pack the theater, so I can put all my popcorn and soda to the next seat next to me because nobody can sit next to you unless it's your wife or her group. And I'm such a movie geek. My birthday's in a couple weeks, and AMC you can rent out a auditorium.
Oh yeah. I was gonna do that with a band, with not Abandoned Dead, with Hoodman for the screening, for the cast and crew screening. And then they started throwing all these different rules at us, like, oh, you can't stop in the lobby, you can't take pictures, you can't, it's a screening, man. I want my cast and crew. We want to get pictures. We want to get the poster up. They said no. I said no, forget it. But I hear what you're saying. So you make it an event when you go to your AMC theater. You make it a big event.
Up to 20 people, and I'm going to show my kids Back to the Future.
Nice. Oh, what a great movie.
And it's your cinema. Now new movies they charge like $249, but Back to the Future $99. I'm like, that's perfect. That's going to be awesome. Spend my birthday at the theater, and I wish your movie was there because I'm like, hey, let's go see Hoodman because my daughter loves horror movies. She's 14, and we've been watching horror movies since she was young. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I'm a bad father. Sorry, people.
No, you're a good father. I wish my dad had taken me to more horror movies. But the thing is, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a 1-year anniversary screening of this, and by that time, all the COVID stuff should, I hope, pray to God it's over by then, and everybody can get back to it. Nobody will be afraid to come. Because people are actually afraid, our cast, and they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, well, look, I don't want to have 5 people sitting in this theater watching this movie. It costs a lot of money to rent the theater, and then you got to get the thing made into a Blu-ray. That's another $300-400. So I'm like, look, let's wait a year, and we'll do a screening. Hopefully we'll have some money back from it by then, and we'll be able to do it. But I really want to see Hoodman in the theater. I'm with you, Eric. I like to see it on the big screen,
Yeah, I watched it on my iPad, and I'm always like, I like seeing it on a big screen, see the whole thing.
I had it on my projector with my little speaker right next to my head. Yeah, so it was. Wow. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Was it a cinematic experience?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was cool. I like one shot. She's running like along that fence, and Hoodman's chasing her. And
down the alleyway.
Yeah, down the alley. Yeah, that was like my favorite shot.
And as soon as I can rent it, I'm gonna watch it on my big screen, of course.
Okay.
I'm ready to watch it on my theater screen. But you did a good job on hiring the actress. I don't know her. I can't remember her name. But your main actress.
Madison Spear.
She's good, and that her I don't know if that was her sister that lives at the house with the parents, Missy Anderson.
Missy is her sister. Yeah, she's very good. She's
good, and
Guy Anderson. Yeah,
and I love your the agent, the cop. He reminds me of a dickhead from Agent Smith Matrix. From Matrix. He's like, he has like that little Matrix like I don't believe you. You're the murderer. I mean, he's just like it's like you made it where all the men except the neighbor kid. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but all the men in this movie are dicks except for the neighbor young guy who likes her. He's the only nice guy. All the rest of the movie, the fathers are all like
they're all suspicious of the nice guy too. You're suspicious of the only nice guy.
Yeah, they're all miserable pricks, but that's awesome. You got to have miserable pricks because without tension, you don't have it. So you got to create the tension, and the whole idea behind this is we want to guess like who could this it could be one of these people. I mean, it could be the mother. This Hoodman person could be the mother. It could be the guy's father. It could be anybody, really.
It could be all in her head.
You're so right.
Well, that's the big thing.
10 minutes before the movie ended, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what is he going to go through. Is he going to do a slasher kind of a thing, or is he going to be a psychological thriller? I was thinking, how is he going to end this? Is it going to be?
I didn't know myself.
Spoil anything here, but everybody in the chat. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I was like, is he going this way? He's going to go this way, or are you going to go this way? That's what I liked about it. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's hard.
Well, here's the weird thing, because I didn't even know myself that the ending was up in the air, and I was really having trouble with it, which is pretty common, from what I understand. That's why they always shoot like multiple endings for a lot of these movies, because there's so many ways you can go with it. But I think that was the most satisfying ending that you could really come up with in that scenario.
Before the show, me and Bigfoot was talking, and I was telling Connor that I was hoping he's going to go this way, and you did, and I was like, okay, I like that. He went this way, and I want to say what it was, but I'm like,
no, we don't want to spoil we don't want to be spoilers here, but
your first movie, is kind of funny in a way. Your first one is what's it called again? Abandoned
Dead.
Abandoned Dead. That woman who's the security officer. I was watching this movie, like, I don't want to hire her. And the reason I want to hire her, she opens the door, right? There's this skinny cat. The cat was like all skin, all blood. And there's this weird old guy who says he's the caretaker. And I'm like, shouldn't you be calling the cops? Saying there's an animal skin on my door. And there's this weird dog that I'm like,
call the cops.
I'm like,
I mean,
she should call the cops.
Call the because the cat was killed. Call the cops. What are they going to do? I mean,
I know. But I was thinking, the typical horror movies where white people see a ghost, where most people will leave, but white people will go in and try to find it.
Yeah. Well, the reason they go in is because they're. First of all, you wouldn't have a movie if they didn't.
That's true.
And secondly, it shows that the people are, courageous. Like they have that, they're willing to go where the person that's watching it wouldn't.
No, I agree with you. And one of my favorite scenes actually is just the conversation she was having with her boss. Like, I need you to work to midnight, but she's like, you're gonna find me somebody to let me get off, right? And of course, more workplaces, they never find you somebody to get you off. So what's
especially in the
happen.
guard business. If you ever worked in the guard business, I worked in the guard business a lot of years, and man, it's creepy, man. Some of the places that they put you in are just freaking creepy. And this is back east now, but I know what it's like to be in one of those big buildings by yourself and there's nobody around, and you got to walk through these damn places to hit the the keys. They give you a clock and you got to walk through and you got to hit the. Man, it's frightening, especially once you do like a double shift. Like, we're getting back to that. They don't, half the time these idiots don't show up, and so you got to work a double shift, right? So you're dead tired. And have you ever stayed up for like 24 hours or 48 hours? Your mind, man, it just starts to
hallucinate.
You start to hallucinate.
This is a true story.
That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me, man. I'd be walking through these buildings and I'd be like, what the fuck was that? Like, you see shit out of the corner of your eye, and it's like, man, that messes with you. So that's where that movie.
I'll tell you what happened to me, and this is a true story. I was a security officer in Fresno, California. I got called up to go to this factory, and like you said, you drive in a car to different spots with the clock. Right. And I was driving up this road, and there's this other car. It was at night, had no headlights on, was speeding like crazy, and actually slammed into me. Totaled my car, and this car just took off. So I was thinking, this guy must have stole this car or he saw me wearing a security outfit. Maybe he was thinking I was a cop, off-duty cop, and just took off. And like you said, nobody cares. And you try to call your boss. Nobody's answering the phones, and I'm like, guys, I just got my car just got totaled. I actually didn't get hurt. I don't know how I didn't get hurt, but like you said, it's scary at night, and
it is.
And you think people are going to help, but people hit you and they take off and run, and nobody helps you. Everybody was walking on the sidewalk, saw my car smashed. Nobody stopped to say, "Hey, are you all right?" It was like at
least you have a sense when you're outside. At least you have a sense that you can go somewhere. But when you're in one of these buildings, I worked in this complex of office buildings, and there were like 10 or 15 of these large buildings. It was a big computer corporation, and it'd be in the middle of the night, and you don't turn the lights on. You're walking through with a flashlight, and you got to move, and you're moving, and you're going from floor to floor, up and down stairs, and all this stuff, and you can't really see what's behind you. All you can do is you can just kind of sense, and these air conditioners are clicking on and off, and after enough hours of no sleep and that repetitiveness, over and over, hour after hour, man, your mind just starts to play tricks on you, especially if you're a horror guy. Like we're all horror guys, so we're going to be thinking, like Connor's going to be thinking, there's a Bigfoot in here. I know it.
Yep.
Because Connor knows, at least Connor believes that there is a Bigfoot. So if he believes that there is a very good possibility there is a Bigfoot, why then would it maybe not be in the building?
Yep. Oh yeah, Dogman is known for hiding out in hiding out in warehouses. So every time I'm urban exploring and breaking into all these abandoned spots, I'm looking for like fairies, trolls, and Dogman. Yeah. But of course, I'm ready for Bigfoot, of course. But yeah, werewolves, man, they're the ones who are lurking in the scary warehouses and abandoned factories. I feel bad for you guys having to be security guards there. I'm really into cursed films. Mark, did you guys have any strange paranormal anomalies on set of either Abandoned Dead or Hoodman?
Well, the first location that we had, which was the medical clinic, is a pretty old place, and my girlfriend works there, and she said that the place is haunted, and so there is really a lot of strange noises in this place, and nurses claim that they see ghosts in there, which is kind of how we came up with that zombie idea. The zombie sitting in one of the rooms, one of the examination rooms. Remember that one scene where there's a zombie in there? Well, that was kind of based on a sighting that somebody had when they were in the clinic. So they said they seen this, what it looked like the dead, decomposing body of someone who had died. So we kind of shifted that into more of a zombie kind of a character. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, there were a couple of strange things, but for the most part, we didn't really have all that many paranormal experiences in terms of that with the shoot. No.
Well, I guess consider yourself lucky, because there's been so many like Waterworld, and then video games that they lost a bunch of data and millions of dollars worth of work. It just tons of curse. And yeah, actors, falling and getting injured or seeing ghosts. Yes. All the Conjuring films are filmed. The Nun and stuff are filmed over in Romania, so there's always strange occurrences on set there. But yeah, just all angles of cursed or strange anomalies.
Yeah, it's something about a film that Murphy's Law always, whether it's paranormal or whether it's just the luck of the draw, I don't know. But boy, you just run into all kinds of problems. It's just one issue after another, so it becomes kind of this thing where you just become more of a problem solver than a filmmaker, It's really what it gets down to, making these things. It's like, not another problem. How am I going to overcome this?
Yeah.
It's very little like creative time, It's fun when you're able to direct. It's fun when you're able to write and make a movie, light something. But a good 95% of it is you're just dealing with problems.
Let me ask you, I'm always wondering about this because, like I said, you're a director, you're the writer, and you're also a producer. What is the difference really between? I know a director is like directing the actors on the screen, and then a producer. What's the difference between a director and a producer? Because I know a lot of people don't know the differences for any movies.
Well, a producer often is responsible for bringing all the elements of everything together, like the location. He'll coordinate with a location manager. He'll coordinate with let's say, for instance, the person that's doing the casting. He'll coordinate with, say, maybe the money people. Producers wear a lot of different hats, but their job is to bring all the elements of the production together so that each of those individual people can do their job and focus on just their job, so that the casting agent just worries about the casting. The sound man just worries about his element of the sound. And then that way everyone can specialize in a certain thing. And when everything gets put together, presumably or hopefully, it comes together in a harmonious way that allows for everything to work more efficiently. But in a smaller film, you don't have the luxury of that. So you have to, like, as a producer, I had to do the casting. I had to, find the money. I had to find the locations. I had to hire the cinematographer. I had to vet everybody. I had to make sure that I could work with these people and that their personalities weren't going to blow up in the middle of the pressure of working on the set. So in a sense, I feel it's like a lot easier because you don't have these creative arguments. It's like a director will often butt heads with a producer because they don't see eye to eye on a certain element of the production. Whereas I'm the producer and I'm the director, so unless I argue with myself, everything goes pretty well.
I want to thank Tom Murr. Tom Murr from the chat just put in your YouTube page in the chat.
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
I want to thank you because I didn't ask him, and he's awesome. He's one of our watchers, and I appreciate it. He also put Bigfoot's YouTube page in the chat too. So thank you, Tom. Thanks for everything you do for the show. Now, some movies have what they call an executive producer. Is that just one person higher up than the producer? Is that like, what's the difference between a producer and an executive?
Well, a lot of times there's no set thing that an executive producer does. But normally, in most cases, if you see executive producer credit, it's usually either as a favor or very oftentimes like in our case, the executive producers, they allowed us the use of their house. And they helped. That was basically their function, is they helped us with the location. So we made them executive producers as a result. But a lot of times, executive producers are the financiers of the thing. But it'll be different from movie to movie.
No, I heard that. I heard, like, through legends that sometimes a studio will say Steven Spielberg presents Back to the Future or something, and he really has nothing to do with the movie, but he just his name that he watched the movie, or maybe he gave one suggestions was it's a way to help sell a movie.
Well, in his case, he probably has some points in the movie and the profit participation.
Emblem, part of the.
That's his production company. Yeah. Then they'll actually be, the production company itself is usually the one that's in charge of hiring all of the elements of the casting of the casting crew. So, but other times you'll see a production company at the front end. They've only contributed their, let's say, foreign distribution contacts in the whole thing. So you might see a Canadian production company listed, or you might see an Italian production company listed, or oftentimes you'll see Canadian production companies listed because they allow the production to shoot in Canada, where they can get all these big tax incentives from the Canadian government.
Wow. Well, now with you having all the hats on for these movies, you're taking on a lot of pressure because this is literally your movie. I mean, right. Director, writer, producer, this is your baby, all from the beginning to the end.
But it is, but at the same time, then you're not arguing with people. You're not dealing with people's personalities. A lot of times producers and directors and writers, they get into all these tussles over creative problems. The writer will say, oh yeah, I didn't want her to say it like that. And the director said, well, fuck you. She's going to say it the way I want him to say it. And then the producer's like, well, you guys stop arguing and just get this thing done because we're over time. And this goes on, the whole time, and everybody's at each other's throats. So it actually works out better for me to do it myself, because that way, at least I know those three things. I've done it for a while, and I know that I can get it done, and I can get it done as efficiently as it can possibly be done under the circumstances. So I don't really feel pressure on it. I might feel more pressure if I had to deal with somebody that was giving me a difficult time.
Are you hoping that, I'm not giving anything away, people, but are you hoping that to take one of these movies and hopefully to branch off the one movie, maybe a sequel or maybe other stories off the one? Is that
would be nice? I think that would be very cool. I think the Hoodman character definitely has a sort of a franchisable sort of element to it. I thought that maybe there could be a Hoodman 2 or whatever, but I guess that's all going to depend on if it resonates with the audiences. If people really like it and they give it good reviews, and let's say maybe if it does really well, it might merit doing a second one. That remains to be seen, but that would be cool. I'd be all for that. We all would love to have a franchisable movie that goes, where the characters can carry the franchise, like Chucky or Jason or Michael Myers or any of these great franchises do.
Maybe on like the fourth movie, it can get like real meta, and they can go after you and us. It turns to the real life, and Hoodman turns on the creator. Well,
usually that happens if you sell it off to another company, they take over, and they don't have the same love or spirit as the original creator. You see that a lot, and that's why I always tell people on my channel and stuff that it's nice that we support the movie theaters, the big movies, but don't forget the independent movies, because too many people always say this, and it always drives me crazy. Oh, people, you probably hear this all the time. There's no new movies out there. Everything's all remakes. They're all, and if people look at the numbers, there's more new movies versus remakes and sequels. It's just you don't go out and see them because you yourself will only go see Star Wars 10, Star Wars 11, and where you got this whole new movie over here. And you're not, I'm not going to watch it. I've never heard of it. Well, take a chance. Just the other day on Shudder, I watched a movie called Slacks about a pair of pants killing people.
I think I had a pair of those once.
And it's like, take a chance on movies. Here's
the other thing that gets me is people who read reviews and say, well, they said it's a shitty movie, so I'm not going to watch it. It's like, how many times have you ever, read? I mean, I know for me, I've gone on reviews before and I've looked at reviews of movies that said they were great, and I've looked at the movie and I didn't care for it. Same opposite way. They pan the movie, say it's terrible. You go see it. It's great. So, think for yourself. Don't listen to the reviewers.
You really can't read reviews on horror movies because most critics don't like horror movies. They don't give them the love. They don't give them the respect. And I really believe what I'm saying really here. I've told people that dramas or documentaries are the point of view of who's ever directing it. They could put in whatever influence they want. It's not exactly true. All because it's documentary doesn't mean it's true. A lot of horror movies have truth in it. They just add maybe a creature or maybe a zombie, but there's more truth into a horror movie than some of these documentaries. I mean, it's
and even if you're not looking for truth, nothing wrong with a little escapism, right? I mean, it's fun to speculate on what could be or what not could be, get away from your everyday problems and take a look at, say, somebody that's in this terrible situation. I think a lot of us live through those characters vicariously, right? We see somebody in this terrible horror situation and we think, geez, I'm glad that's not me, So it doesn't have to reflect truth, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and stay away from critics and just watch the movie, like you said. Now, there was an Oscars that went on Monday. I didn't even know there was an Oscars.
I don't watch the Oscars myself.
And no offense to the Best Picture. I did not like it. I did not like it. Like you're saying.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what won. Isn't that terrible?
Some movie called No Man Land. No Man Land.
Well, now I've heard of Nomad Land. I saw a couple shots for it. It looks awesome to me. it looks like a really cool movie. I would like to see that movie, but I don't watch those award shows either. I'm the same way as you are. I like, hey, there's so much out, you know. There's so much. How do you keep up with everything? That's the other problem.
That's hard. No, you're right.
We have
the biggest problem we have now is you have so many streaming services, right?
Yeah.
Even if you take away all the streaming services, just say you have Netflix, right? Just Netflix.
Yeah, just Netflix.
You don't even know what's on Netflix. Like,
you can't even keep up with it all.
Yeah, it's like people do poor marketing nowadays, like Netflix. Hey, you watch this movie on Netflix? I didn't even know it was on Netflix. There's thousands of movies, right? And it's like, that's why I love you coming on here, because you're telling people about your movie. You're getting the word out, you know, one person by a person, but that's how you got to do it nowadays, because it's too many streaming services that you just don't know what's out there to watch. You just don't.
It's like you're a drop of water in the ocean. It's really hard to get attention. So the more people like yourself who are putting the spotlight on independent filmmakers and independent movies, that's huge, man. I mean, it helps us, and we try to help you with content, and your audience wants a certain thing that they can't get from Netflix, you know. They can't get our kind of movies from Netflix. They're not going to get our kinds of movies from the studios. It's a special kind of thing. It's almost like a one-of-a-kind, unique product, and so it's a symbiotic relationship. And so I'm very appreciative of you having me on here today and be able to talk a little bit about my passion.
Nah, like I said, being in Bigfoot, we love horror movies. That's why I decided to open up another channel, just called Horror Talk, where we talk paranormal on my main channel here.
Okay.
But I have another channel now called Horror Talk, where all we do is talk horror movies. That's all we do.
Nice.
But this is my bigger channel, for 13,000 subscribers versus 56. But,
nice.
But I love horror movies so much, and I know a lot of our fans like paranormal, but they're not really into movies like I am. So I open up another channel just for the horror movies.
And it deserves its own, because it's amazing how many horror fans there are out there, isn't it? I mean, God, there's hundreds of thousands, millions, probably.
Oh, there is. Every Friday, I ask my daughter, "You want to go to the movies?" Well, is it a horror movie? No, I don't want to go.
And you know what's weird is there's so many people who don't like horror, and they're just deathly afraid of it. Like, I can't tell you how many people, like friends and members of my family and acquaintances and stuff, coworkers and different jobs and things, they're like, well, so I say, hey, I got a movie coming out, and they'll say, oh, really? What's it about? I'll say, well, it's a horror movie. Oh no. Yeah, they're like, oh no. I'm sure you've met people like
that. Oh God, and they don't understand. There's so many genres.
They're afraid to be afraid.
They are, but they don't understand.
They'll just turn on the freaking news, man. If you turn on the news, that's scarier to me than any of these horror movies.
Oh, all the way. And then nowadays, there's so many different kinds of horror movies. It's not some are comedy horror, some are sci-fi horror. I mean, there's creatures, there's slashers. I mean, there's so many different kind of horror movies. It's almost like its own genre in itself. It's like do we want to watch a slasher horror today? Do you want to watch a monster horror movie today, or you want to watch a sci-fi? I mean, you know, here's Carla. Carla loves horror movie. Loves horror movies. But there is a off the wall question that I wanted to ask. This is off the wall. They say. There's been a debate about the movie Jaws, and I want to hear you guys' opinion. There's been a debate. Some people say Jaws is a horror movie, and some people say it's not. It's more of an action horror movie. I'm just curious from you guys. Mark, is Jaws a horror movie, or would you consider that an adventure movie?
I don't know. I'd say it probably has some elements of horror. I guess you could call it a tweener, you know. It's kind of in between the kind of suspense, a little bit of a thriller. I mean, if you look at like Dark Water, like what would that be?
That's true.
You know, it's the same idea. It works with suspense. It's sort of got a monster in it, but it's a real monster. It's a shark. So I don't know. I wouldn't call it a horror movie. Some people don't like being in suspense. It's like the person that has to open the gift
Yeah.
Oh no! I gotta open it. No.
I was on
leave it under the tree until Christmas. Oh no!
I was on another channel, and this guy asked me, what do you think of Jaws? I go, it's an adventure movie. No, it's a horror. That just it scared me to go back in the ocean. I'm like, okay.
It doesn't really matter what they call it.
It's a creature feature.
Yeah,
I would class it more like a thriller.
Just say it is what it is. It's whatever you want it to be.
100%.
It is like it's just fun asking people their opinions. I love
a
little bit. You know,
plus
like
it gets them interacting.
I go, some people say, well, The Crow is a superhero movie. I go, really? The Crow? Technically, he died and came back from the dead to kill people for revenge. I go, that's a horror if you think about it.
That's an anti-hero villain. That's like a Batman kind of a thing. Like, what would you call that? Well, it's a superhero.
Let's do this. I know you got to get going, so I'm going to ask you one last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. I want to thank you for coming on.
All right.
The last question basically is beyond promoting this movie, you got anything coming up like soon, or any other projects you're working on?
I've got a documentary that I'm writing, producing, and directing. It's called American Mafia, and it's going to be coming out in England in the fall, I believe. I'm not exactly sure because we haven't finalized everything yet. But
Carla's from England. That's
no,
that Carla?
I think it's going to be on. I heard it was going to be on the Sky Channel, but they haven't done a deal yet, and because we haven't finished. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I've barely gotten started with it. I just finished the script, but it's called American Mafia. I think it's going to be a series about the American Mafia. It's a crime thing. It really has nothing to do with horror.
So American Mafia have to be released in England.
Yeah, I'll come back on and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I've always got different projects. I got another horror movie that I'm thinking about doing, but I don't know when or how at this point. But I'm gonna keep at the game, my friend, and I'll keep you posted on what's going on. And I would encourage everyone to go out and check out Hoodman. It's coming out on May 1st. And check out Abandoned Dead, which is on Tubi now. And I'm always promoting. I know you were going to say all this as well, Eric, but I beat you to the punch.
No. And guys, I really recommend checking it out, because you should support all movies and support not just the big budget ones. Those are easy. Low budget. One thing I love about low budget is it's made by people who really love the movies, because it's hard to make a movie. Everybody needs to understand that it's hard to make a movie, and it's hard to make a good movie. I mean, it really is hard. It's not easy. And check his movie out, and that is free right now on Tubi, guys. You can watch that on Tubi.
And this is a collector's item. This is the Blu-ray version of Abandoned Dead. This is the director's cut. This is amazing, and this is now available on Amazon. And this is wonderful.
Are you saying the one on Tubi is not director's cut?
It is the director's cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. This is the same thing, but I was just trying to play it up and make it sound better than what it was. So, but it's still pretty damn good. I mean,
that's very cool.
I don't think you're going to get the same sound quality on Tubi. Plus, look, I mean, who wants commercials? If you buy the DVD, you've helped support my movie, and you've helped filmmakers everywhere.
Yes.
So let's make that happen. All right. So there you go.
And people, by supporting him, you actually, in a lot of ways, you support me too, because by him making a movie, he's coming on my show. We get to make a show out of it. And Tom Murr says, nice. I really enjoy mob movies, chocolate and cheese. And Tom Murr again wrote, low budget is usually for the love of the cinema. I back that up 100%. I will be sure to check them both out. Just sorry I hadn't watched them before. And that's why we do this show, because this is how we get these movies that we probably never would have saw if we didn't hear about it. This is why we do this, to get these movies out. So you hear it and watch it. And Carla and guys, once you guys all watch it, maybe next week, myself, Bigfoot will come back on and we'll do a recap of these movies.
That'd be good. And do me a favor, if you like the movie, please give me a review on on Amazon Prime or IMDb TV or whatever your platform is that you're watching it on. Give me a good review, because those reviews really help a lot. We really got clobbered by the trolls on Abandoned Dead, and it's been very hard to recover from that. And all the buyers that come to these markets, the first thing they do is they look your movie up on IMDb, and if you don't have a good rating, they say, nope, we don't want it.
Well, we know about trolls. They come here too.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't. You know what? It's a shame.
It is.
That people can't. Why can't everybody just get along? Where's the love? Where's the caring? I'm gonna write a movie about a guy who goes after trolls with a submachine gun and a flamethrower.
I agree.
Troll
the whole year, I used to wear a cowboy hat on the show, so I decided not to wear the cowboy hat. As soon as I take the cowboy hat, here comes the trolls. Put that hat back on. You like my shit.
What the hell is this shit? Take
Carla,
the cowboy hat off.
Carla asked, "Is it on Amazon Prime?" No. Well, Carla, Hoodman comes out in 2 days, so that comes out in 2 days. That's why you don't see it right now. But his first Abandoned movie is actually on Tubi, so you can watch that right now.
It's also on Amazon Prime.
Is it? It's also on Amazon Prime. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now she's
but go to Tubi and see it, because I get paid more money for that. See, if you watch it for free, I'll get some ad revenue. But if you go to Amazon Prime, I'll get like a penny and a half for it.
You know what's funny?
One view.
What's funny is I tell people, "Hey, go to my
That's why
go to my podcast and watch the same thing, because I make more money off the podcast than I do here." So
honestly,
beyond
folks, that, we don't make any money. But Troll Man.
While we're at it, buy my book. It's on Amazon.
He had to get it. Yeah, see, that's why I love it. I love it, Connor. I love it.
So
hey, it all connects. We're meant to be here. This trilogy, this tripod, man. It's meant to be, and cinema. It's roots to reality. There's nothing that is made up. I liked your word of escapism, but man, everything is under the firmament, under the dome, under our reality. Like, it's here. We can only grab from the source, and you're just a messenger of great information. I appreciate it.
Oh, Carla, I don't know if Tubi is available in the UK. That's a good question.
I tend to think that it isn't. Because I know they were just bought by Fox TV. And I think Fox TV is maybe
by
Fox
Disney.
TV. It's hard to say. I guess Carla, are you in the UK?
Yeah, she lives in the UK.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say just type it into your internet. If you can bring it up, you got it. If you don't,
and Tubi is free, guys. Tubi, it's just you have to watch it with commercials. That's all it is.
Yeah, Prime is free, but you have to have an account. You have to have a Prime account.
Yeah.
So
beyond that, guys, we're gonna end the show. I want to thank our guests for coming on, and if anybody wants to watch my regular show, it's gonna be coming up. This is the link to the regular show about mystical creatures that'll be on next. So beyond that, I want to thank you, Mark. It was fun.
Thank you.
We need to have you back in the future.
Let's do it.
So all right,
I'm ready. I'm already ready.
Later, Mark. It was an honor.
Thank you.
It was an honor. Have a good day, Mark.
See you guys. Thank you.
See you guys all later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.